It's Charter California Edition. Welcome back. I'm Brad Pomerantz, and we are joined by Jeff Kellogg. He is the president of the Long Beach Community College District. I want to speak with you about a groundbreaking program. We've spoken about it before, and that is the ability of 6 college districts to create and offer intersession classes that would be in the winter and presumably summer for impacted courses at a higher rate.
Right.
Talk to us about it. Long Beach was the first and only so far.
First and only one that offered it among the 6. This was part of the legislation that was by Assembly member from the Santa Barbara area.
Das Williams.
And we are the only college that took that and actually did enact classes to be offered during intersession.
Well, let me ask you, if I may, if you know why. Well, why are you the only one?
Well, a lot of which was political pressure. Many of the, including the last one, San Bernardino, the community college district out there, they had a term, correct, one of the colleges there. They had the opportunity to enact it as well. Some of the college districts also weren't prepared to do it. They didn't have the qualifications that really they could do it this time. They may do it in the future. But in the case of San Bernardino, a lot of political pressure because it's change. And nobody wants change, especially in their own district.
As I understand it, Pasadena, PCCD, they've said no. Even though they're on the list, they've said no.
And they wouldn't have qualified at the time, but their president superintendent just said, no, we're not going to do it.
I think Oxnard, no.
They were also another one. They said no, and they were part of Ventura. And interesting, I talked to one of the trustees from the Ventura Community College District, and he said to me, he goes, Jeff, what you're doing is absolutely right, but I'm not willing to stake my political future on it.
There's that much anger about it?
I think there's concern among trustees that they look at themselves out politically first, college second, and that's why I have to give a lot of credit to the board at Long Beach.
Right, which I understand, but what you're offering, arguably, is the ability for a student to graduate sooner.
Right.
Because a class is impacted, so they have to stick around longer.
Right.
Yes, they may need to pay a little more for the class over the winter, but wouldn't it be cheaper in the end than sticking around for a whole extra semester a year?
Absolutely. If you want to come to our next board meeting and discuss this item, feel free to, because most people are talking about how it goes against the community college system with $46 a unit. It's more.
How much more?
It varies. It was up to a couple $100 a unit versus our $46. Now, the breakdown industry, when we did pass it and we did enact it, and it has taken place now, 97% of the courses that we were offered during the last winter session were filled. So 97% of them were filled. Out of that, the breakdown of the students, which we wanted to look at as well, it mirrored the exact student population that we currently have at Long Beach City College as far as where they are.
Age range, ethnicity,
all of that.
socioeconomic.
And the interesting part also is the people that took out financial aid. Traditionally, Long Beach City College, about 62% of our students have some type of what we call BOG waivers. It's financial aid. This class during the winter session, it was 57% of the students that took it had BOG waivers. It mirrored exactly what we had before. It was a success in that regard. It'll happen for a few more years, and then it sunsets. So we were.
How many students total? Do you know? About
it was
hundreds or thousands?
No, it was a couple hundred. It was a couple hundred because it was a limited curriculum. Because by the time it got through all the legislative process, signed by the governor and supported by the governor,
with a signing statement. How often do you see a gubernatorial signing statement?
No, he was adamant.
Usually, you see a veto statement, but not a signing statement.
Right. So he felt it was a fair idea that needed to be considered. So we found it to be very successful, and we're going to continue it because what I tell people, it gives students an option.
But what about the argument, and I think it's a fair one to discuss, that it creates 2 classes?
Well, it creates,
economic-wise.
For economics, what it does is you are offering courses at a higher rate. The fact is we wish we didn't have to do that. The way that can be resolved is if the state of California allocated more funding to the community college system to where we could offer more classes to help address this bubble of students that we have huge wait lists. That's not going to happen.
Well, we know that these are better days fiscally in California, and we do know that community colleges will be seeing more money as a result of Prop 30 and a better economy. But if you look at the governor's priorities when it comes to education, clearly he gives his strongest stamp of approval to K-12. I mean, that's where he's sending most of the largesse, I guess you can say. Not to 13, 14, not to CSU, UC.
But the biggest, in his proposed budget, the biggest issue that he presented in there was actually almost $600 million to the community college system to essentially bring the debt down. The money that we've been owed since 2007, it just keeps compiling year after year.
Is UC part of Prop 98? I misspoke. Is community college part of Prop 98?
Yes, it is. It's a small percentage of Prop 98. I want to say it's 11 to 13%. So it's not huge in that convoluted formula they utilize, but yes, we are part of that. So we do get some more funding on it, but still not the level that we need. And so that's the whole question. We're rolling back to why we did the intersessions. We're trying to offer students the option to try and move forward. The argument always is going to be that in many people's mind, community college should be free or close to free. At $46 a unit, it's more expensive than when I attended community college, but it was free.
Interestingly, it is in terms of comparing to the other 50 states. 50th. I mean, you know that.
Yes.
Right now, California is the cheapest, least expensive community college per unit.
The largest system in the United States with 112 community colleges out of approximately 1,200 community colleges nationwide. We are still the cheapest, but the fact that many people look at it that way, that they're not going to change anything, but we have to change, and we are changing to address the needs of the students. And this was it was a component. It was part of the puzzle, but it clearly is not the only piece.
So how did you decide what courses to offer in the winter?
There actually was a list of that, and that was the courses that had the highest demand over the past few years, the wait list.
I see.
The courses that were most impacted over the last few years. Those are the courses that you ended up, you then were qualified to offer those, and that's exactly what we did.
What about this summer?
Some of the same scenario.
So
it'll be expanded curriculum though, much larger amount of offering of courses.
Will there be a regular summer session? Because we know during the recessions, often summer sessions were cut completely.
Right.
So will there be regular summer session and then this kind of intersession rate?
We're anticipating there will be a regular summer session as well.
Both?
Yes.
So how does one decide what gets charged the higher rate?
I mean, some people, if they want to take the chance and try to get a course, even during this semester taking place right now, it's an option for them, and it's just one that sits there. And our biggest issue is going to be, are we going to get more funding for more access? Because that's the key element for community colleges today.
You're running for re-election, and so I want to talk to you about
20 years I've been doing this.
I was going to say, as a city council member in Long Beach,
yes.
You ran for mayor as well, now community college district. You're walking. And as we've discussed, when you're walking for assembly or Congress or city council, the conversation may be a little more easy to strike up.
Right.
What do you strike up when you're running for community college district when you knock on the door?
Well, for me, a case of a lot of people know me because I was born and raised in the area. I did represent the area on the city council for 12 years.
Right.
So sometimes though they ask me if I'm still the city council member, which
even though it's been how many years?
Since 2000 when I retired from the city council.
14 years.
It's a good question because with those other city council races, you can talk about sidewalk, curbs, planes, trains, automobiles. The community college, you're really just talking about more of how the college impacts their area or in their lives. That's what I end up talking to them about.
Do residents realize that LBCCD is actually one of the premier districts in the state? Do they know that?
I think more people understand that than but the problem is during campaigns.
Right.
The other side of the equation, when people don't run against an incumbent like myself saying he does a fine job but I can do even better. They will always talk as hard negative as they can, and that is the college has gone away from its mission statement, and they will list a lot of things, which is tough during a campaign because the college is one of the finest colleges in the country.
Are you being attacked for supporting intercession?
Not really.
Interesting.
No, people will ask me questions about with vocational programs.
Right.
That's the one thing that they've heard about in the newspaper quite a bit. They'll ask me, but in fairness, all the years I've walked, and I walk every campaign, I can probably count on a hand minus a finger and a thumb the people that have been really rude. I've never had that problem. If they don't agree with you, they're going to say thank you very much and you move on. But nobody's ever basically threatened to throw me off the porch.
His name is Jeff Kellogg. He is the president of the Long Beach Community College District. My name is Brad Pomerantz. This is Charter California Edition.